Greetings, church family. I hope you and your family are doing well. I'm here with Pastor Adam to talk about a great opportunity that we have that's actually coming up this week. It starts on Friday, and so you heard the announcement on Sunday. You've received an email, and you can go and research a little bit if you'd like. But I want Pastor Adam to kind of tell us the process it was to get us a troop here at on our campus, and then also how many troops are in the area, our troop name. And then also just tell us a little bit about the troop. What's the goal and what's the purpose?
Okay. Well, I think the troop name is probably, or number would be a better way for us to kind of look. When we were looking at this, we said, okay, how do we come up with a troop number? And they let you pick, and we picked our number is 1278. And so that's a blending of Psalm 127 and 128. And children are a blessing from the Lord, and also that they're a heritage. And so we're thankful for the children of Covenant. We're also thankful for the parents and the grandparents at Covenant and how they continue to minister to the children and work with them. And so our desire as a church is to assist parents in the raising of their children. And as we were looking at what are some ways that we can do that, Trail Life and American Heritage Girls came up. And for me personally, it's something that I've wanted to see my children go into. And so we said, oh, okay, well, let's investigate this. One day I asked Jamie, I said, Jamie, what do you think of Trail Life? He said, go, do it. And I said, oh, okay. And so we started the process. It's a rather lengthy process. To both of the organizations are separate. They're running. They work in tandem with each other, but there are two different organizations, and their primary goal is to allow churches to create ministries that will help young boys and young girls develop into young men and young women with Christ at the center. And so that's really the thing in which we looked at. So, okay, this is something that would work well with Covenant. And so as we started down the process, we reached out. We started doing the different background checks through the different preliminary training for safety, but then also just making sure that it fit with the mission and vision of Covenant. And as we ventured in more, we found that these are really unique ministries because there's nothing like it in the community around us. And I think that's, to your answer of where we are is in Fayette County, there are no other troops like this. There's some to the south and to the west and to the east, but and even to the north. But as we looked in this area, we're the only ones, and so that helps us kind of draw in from the community. And that was one of the parts that we liked is hey, we really want to have some outreach aspect to this, but we want to be able to draw people into the community here at Covenant, and we have tremendous resources with our building, but also with the people here. We have older saints that are already lining up to come help and to encourage through multiple ways. But hopefully that answered all your questions.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So tell a little bit. So you talk about that it is specific for boys and specifically for girls. Yeah. So there's two separate groups happening. But so what happens within those groups? Like, what are you teaching? What are you training? What are you?
Yeah. So I think most people would look at it and say, okay, this looks a lot like Boy Scouts and this looks a lot like Girl Scouts. And yes, it is what most people think of those, but it's different. The major thing that it begins with is it is a ministry of the church. And so it's not some massive organization of sorts. It is a ministry that is solely operated by the church. And Christ has to be the center of it. It is not something that can go in different directions with that, but particularly in that of looking and saying, okay, how do we let boys be boys and how do we let girls be girls? And in our culture, we see that's a constant wrestling where we want boys to become men, we want girls to become women, and we want them to not feel like there's a huge pressure on them, but to see the freedoms of that and the joys of what does it mean to be a boy and want to grow up into a man? What does it mean to be a woman who wants to grow up and to be or a girl to be a woman? And so in that, there's also the reality that some families have lots of girls, some have lots of boys. So when my family looked at that, we said, okay, we would like to have both, and so they'll run in tandem. but there'll be things that will be distinctly boys and things that are distinctly girls. But there'll also be some things where they learn to serve together, which I think will be a helpful aspect of teaching young boys. Hey, how do I respect and honor these girls that are near us, and girls? How do I help encourage some of these boys? And so there's some unique things that happens when you have two troops that come together.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so you already said that we have some folks who who have already volunteered, who's willing to help. So what are some ways in which, if maybe there's some church members who are thinking about, I want to get involved, what are some ways in which they could get involved?
Yeah, I think the easiest one, in which we all go to in the church, is pray. Pray for the ministry, because these are ministries of the church. We want to see the gospel go forth. These are, we right now have over 10 families that are looking to come, and this Friday we'll start. And so there are potential children and parents that maybe don't know who the Lord is. And so we want to share the gospel with them clearly. We want to enter into discipleship ministry with them. There are some families that are strong believers already. We've known them, or we know of them. And so we want them to come and be a part. And so, we want Christ glorified, the Lord glorified in this. But then, past prayer, there's going to be opportunities in which we do different badges, we do different skills where they come in and, they learn how to fish here at the pond, or they learn how to bake a cake and decorate it, or they learn how to sew, or they learn how to shoot a gun or start a fire. And so there will be opportunities in which we can reach out to the church and say, hey, if you're interested, just let us know. We would like for you to come and walk alongside or even sit alongside and help in some of these different ways. And so that's, I think, as we get in and as we allow the boys and the girls to kind of, give a little bit of feedback of what they want to start learning, where they want to start growing, and what we interpret as leaders, then we'll start reaching out into the church and asking if anybody wants to help. So be aware and prayer, and then also sometimes too, there's just the ministry of presence, of just being here, allowing people to know, hey, this is Covenant. We care about the next generation. We're here and we're engaged, and we love them, and we're praying for you. So just to be able to see those faces, that's one of the big things that I've been telling families as I've been talking to is Covenant loves children, they love the community, and they really want to see Christ made known to the whole surrounding area.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you for that. Church, if you have any specific questions or if you want clarification on anything, definitely feel free to reach out to Pastor Adam. You can email him, call him, drop by the office, share a cup of coffee, although he doesn't drink coffee, so you can drink and he'll watch you drink coffee if you like. But definitely be praying and definitely looking forward to seeing how the Lord will use these troops here in our community, here in our church. If you have neighbors that maybe would be interested in something like this, definitely give them Pastor Adam's contact as well, and just invite them to come. So awesome. Well, thank you, and we will see you, Lord willing, this coming Lord's Day, if not before. And again, I do pray that all is well with you and your family. Continue to pray for the work and the worship of the church.